a few hours before I started writing this video, I accidentally fell into Reddit again. You know, as one does when you're supposed to be productive, and found this rant post titled something like, "Being a rescuer is a curse." Truth to be told, they were spitting facts. The post went full essay mode explaining how being a rescuer is basically the hardest job in Identity V. You know what, buddy? They're right. As a rescuer, you're literally doing the most dangerous task in the game, doing YOLO into that one bonbon waiting in the basement, and somehow it's still your fault when things go south. Like, I'm sorry, Margie. I tried to body block a bonbon with 200 ping. What more do you want from me? And let's not even talk about the ping since, well, the exact millisecond you go for a rescue, your internet decides to enjoy the holiday. Then your character just freezes mid-animation while the hunter's over there planning your funeral. Not to mention the reconnecting message shown on your screen. Anyway, confession time. I was never a rescuer main. Nope. In my prime days, I was a proud decoder main. You know, the ones who say, "I'm decoding," right before getting chased in the first 30 seconds. Yeah, that was me. Then I evolved into a kiter. Not because I was good, but because hunters love decoders and always chase them first. Now I'm just a support main. Mostly because I don't play rank anymore and I like pretending I'm being helpful, while in fact I'm a shenanigan. But don't get me wrong, guys. Even as a shenanigan, I've had my fair share of rescues. Most of it went into a terror shock. But there are lots of moments when I do the rescue perfectly. So, as someone who's not a rescuer main but has suffered enough to speak on it, let's talk about why being a rescuer in Identity V absolutely sucks. Quick disclaimer though, this is slightly biased and based on both personal trauma and Reddit comments. So, if I missed something, feel free to correct me, gently, in the comments. Alright, let's dive in. There are about 30 unofficial types of survivors out there. You know, the ninja, the little gremlin, the alibi maker, but officially, there are only 4: support, kiter, decoder, and rescuer. Among them, decoders probably have it the easiest if the hunter doesn't know what they're doing. And rescuers. Well, rescuers basically live in hard mode. Now, why is that? Glad you asked. Let's start with the decoders. In theory, their job is simple. Decode as fast as possible and hit that perfect cipher pop right when it matters most. It's a peaceful life, assuming that the hunter isn't making it their personal mission to ruin your day. In the best case scenario, decoders can spend most of the match just existing, quietly tapping away on cipher machines, occasionally flexing their perfect calibration skills, and waiting for that sweet gate escape moment like they're clocking out from a 9 to 5. Rescuers, however, don't get that luxury. See, rescuers are guaranteed to meet the hunter, sometimes multiple times, because hunters, being hunters, love camping. They see a chaired survivor and think that it's a picnic zone. So, the rescuer's entire job revolves around charging straight into the danger zone that everyone else is trying to avoid. They share that spotlight with kiters, but at least kiters weren't expected to do any rescue. Rescuers, on the other hand, have a double job. Not only do they have to save their teammate from the chair, but they also have to make sure said teammate doesn't immediately die again 2 seconds later, all while they try to survive themselves. So that's a rescue, a protection plan, and a survival, all in one. Triple the stress, but zero the appreciation. As someone who's had to rescue plenty of times myself, let me just say, it's chaos. You have to calculate the exact moment to make your move. Too early, and you miss the opportunity to prolong the decoding time. Too late, and your teammate's already ghost material. You're constantly predicting the hunter's next move, which is almost always stay near the chair and spam stickers to the chaired person. Then there's the timing. You're trying to avoid the dreaded terror shock, which undoubtedly happens to the best of us. One mistimed button press, and boom, you're doing the ragdoll flop while your team collectively screams in chat. To really understand the pain of being a rescuer, we have to look closer, like way closer. Because being a rescuer means you're not just fighting one enemy, you're fighting 3, the hunter, your teammates' expectations, and, sometimes, the biggest villain of all, the internet. Let's start with the obvious one, the hunter. Now, how is the hunter your enemy, you ask? I mean, it's literally in the job description. Anyway, some of the hunters will kindly leave their captured survivor behind and go chase other people. Those are the blessed moments when rescuing feels like a calm walk in the park. A park filled with bear traps, but still. Then there are the other kind, the ones who see a chaired survivor and think, "Ah, yes, this is my property now." These are the campers. They won't leave that chair even if the cipher machines is speeding up. They'll just sit there, waiting for someone to show up so they can turn that rescue into a 2-for-1 combo meal. That's when rescuing turns from challenging to emotional damage. Now, assuming you survive the hunter, congratulations! You've unlocked your next boss, teammate expectations. See, a good risk work calculates timing, movement, distance, and maybe even astrology charts to decide when to rescue. But all that goes out the window when teammates have opinions. Because somehow, every teammate knows how you should have done it better. Rescue too slow? Why didn't you go earlier? Rescue too fast? You should have waited for half. Get terror shocked? Skill issue. It's a lose-lose situation. And for some reason, it's always your fault. They'll spam yo-yo in the chat like a football chant, and after the match, they'll be in post-chat acting like they just reviewed your performance on Shark Tank. Like, sorry, I didn't do a triple backflip rescue while dodging a bloody queen mirror, my bad. And finally, we have the last boss, your internet connection. Sometimes, just when you've perfectly planned your rescue, the game decides to say, no. Your screen freezes, the ping spikes to 800, and reconnecting pops up like a jump scare. By the time you're back, you're on a chair yourself. And of course, you'll still get blamed for it. Even if you explain it was the ping, the kindest response you'll get is, "Did you play from Mars?" Like, "Yes, Steve, the Wi-Fi is bad up here. Thanks for noticing." So yeah, being a rescuer is rough. They're the firefighters of the manor, showing up late only because they can't predict the flames, dealing with disasters nobody else wants to touch, and still getting yelled at for not being good enough. When someone says being a rescuer is a curse, it's not an exaggeration, it's just facts. Given all those enemies, it's really not an exaggeration to say that rescuers are, in many ways, both the emotional backbone of every team and the emotional punching bag. Every rescue attempt adds about 3 years to your life expectancy, or takes 3 off, depending on how it goes. It's basically emotional stress. It's especially brutal when you're placed with teammates who expect you to be the second coming of John Cena, or that one decoder who's on a 20-match losing streak and takes it personally when the rescue doesn't go right. Even if you are a pro rescuer, you're constantly stuck in a mental coin toss. Should I rescue now or wait? Is the hunter going to camp or patrol? If I die, will anyone even thank me? You're asking yourself all these questions while literally sneaking into the hunter's murder radius, and the game expects you to think fast and accurately. Honestly, if rescuers applied this level of brain power anywhere else, we'd probably have a second Einstein by now. And sometimes, rescuing is just pure gambling. You can study all the strategies, count cipher progress, analyze the hunter's habits, but at the end of the day, you're flipping a coin and praying to God that you'll make it safely, without your teammates spamming yo-yo in the end. Now, let's imagine this situation. Your teammate gets downed in 10 seconds. You think, nah, this one's a lost cause. But then, a decoder, who is probably supposed to be decoding, swoops in, saves them, and suddenly, that 10-second down turns into a kiting legend. They loop the hunter for 3 minutes. The ciphers pop, and the hunter surrenders. Post-match, you're blamed for not going for the rescue. Then, next match, Kama hits. You see a god-tier kiter go down after 2 minutes of pure brilliance. 3 ciphers are done. Everything's going smoothly, so of course you go for the rescue. And what happens? They get rescued. and immediately go down again, in 3 seconds. Because of course, their Wi-Fi decided to cosplay as dial-up internet. Post-match? You're blamed again, this time for not body blocking. At this point, rescuing isn't just a role. It's a gambling addiction with extra steps and emotional damage. Every decision feels like playing rock, paper, scissors blindfolded while on fire, and no matter what you do, someone's going to tell you you played it wrong. Now, let's circle back to the case I mentioned at the very beginning, the one that inspired this whole video. A certain Reddit post. Turns out, that post wasn't alone. It was merely the tip of a very exhausted iceberg. I started scrolling, and one post after another echoed the same collective cry: being a rescuer sucks. For context, I suggest you check that Reddit post yourself. Then, dive into the comments. You'll witness an entire community screaming into the digital void about the pain, the stress, and the existential dread that comes with rescuing. But then the question arises, if it's that bad, why not stop playing rescuer? Well, based on my extremely scientific observation, aka reading Reddit at 2 a.m., there are a few reasons. Some refuse to switch because rescuing is the only role they truly excel at. Others don't want to hand it off to teammates because, frankly, those teammates often perform worse. And then there's the mysterious third group, the ones who just keep doing it. Maybe they secretly enjoy suffering? I don't know. Could be a skill issue. Could be masochism? Possibly both. As a non-rescuer main myself, I get it. There are moments where I've been forced to rescue, not because I wanted to, but because the actual rescuer was busy decoding, away from keyboard, or currently being the one on the chair. One time, I went in too late and ended up rescuing at 51%. No tide turner. Playing Helena, my body block failed. Was it entirely my fault? Probably not. Did the post-match chat tell me to quit the game anyway? Absolutely. Like, bro, I didn't choose to rescue. I just happened to be the closest person to the poor soul on the rocket chair. Then there were times when I had to do multiple rescues as Evelyn because, apparently, a real rescuer decided to specialize in saying yo-yo and nothing else. I remember one match where I, as Evelyn, swooped in for a last-second rescue at 97%, basically dragging the match away from a total loss. And then, of course, I had to do 4 more rescues while our designated rescuer kept decoding somewhere in Antarctica. I was so mad I actually ranted in post-match chat. Though, conveniently, the rescuer had already left. Classic. After those experiences, my view of rescuers completely changed. It's a tough job, one that gets way less appreciation than it deserves. Some non-rescuers might think that when the rescue fails, it's their fault the whole team collapses. But trust me, once you've experienced the chaos firsthand, you'll realize that rescuing is basically walking into the gates of hell, but politely. All in all, rescuers have it rough. They're the key players, the emotional backbone, the team therapist, and, often, the lag victims. That's why I wanted to make this video. Not as a rant, but as a love letter to all rescuers out there. Even if I'm not a full-time rescuer myself, more like a part-time, second-line one. I still hope that next time you see your rescuer trying their best, maybe don't flame them, or at least flame them politely. Now that we've discussed how rough life is for rescuers, let's move on to the types of rescuers you'll encounter in the game. Based on my very professional, definitely peer-reviewed observation, rescuers can be classified into several categories, all depending on how they perform under pressure. First, the dutiful rescuer. This one is the firefighter of the manor. Loyal, brave, and maybe a little too eager to die for the cause, their life's mission. Save teammates at all costs, even if it means having themselves died in the process. When the match begins, they decode like everyone else, but the moment someone gets chased, you'll see them repositioning, already calculating their approach angle like a Navy SEAL. And when it's time to act, they don't hesitate. You'll see that iconic ping, "Stay put, I'm coming!" Then, they swoop in like a hero. and either clutch the match or get terror-shocked instantly. There's no in-between. Next, there's the veteran rescuer. This one is built different. Calm, collected, emotionally detached. They've seen too much. Countless failed rescues, ungrateful teammates, and matches where they risked everything just to watch someone run straight back to the hunter. Now, they operate on pure logic. You'll only see them appear when it truly matters, and often at a moment when many thought it'll be impossible to rescue. You know, like the kind of player who could probably rescue someone from the basement during detention time against a naiad, and still walk out like nothing happened. They don't ping, they don't panic, they simply arrive. Problem is, they only rescue when they decide you're worth rescuing. If they've silently judged you and found you unworthy, say, you got terror-shocked as Norton within 12 seconds. Congratulations, you're on their blacklist. They'll keep decoding, unbothered, pretending that you never exist. Third, we have the Chicken Heart Rescuer. These players didn't choose the rescuer life chose them. Or, more accurately, they picked the role because the rescuer happened to be wearing their favorite crossover skin. For them, fashion is greater than skill, is greater than common sense. Priorities, right? When the moment to rescue finally comes, they're torn between duty and survival. They're the closest to the chair, but still decoding, thinking, should I go? Should I not? Maybe if I don't look at the screen, it'll solve itself. Eventually, they sigh dramatically and decide to do it. But then they realize the hunter is camping, so they crouch in a bush like a morally conflicted mushroom, whispering, you know what, maybe it's not worth it. Then, their teammates start yelling at them to move, so they panic, sprint toward the chair, and the survivor is gone. Congratulations, you are now the hunter's next target. If they can kite well afterward, great. But honestly, most of the time, they're just cannon fodder. And finally, the wannabe rescuer. This one's my personal favorite headache. They're usually not even playing rescuers. They're decoder, kiters, or, most dangerously, Dr. Men's. Yet somehow, they have decided that they alone possess the divine right to perform all rescues. The actual rescuer could be halfway there, calculating routes, managing risks, ready to make a perfect save. And then, suddenly, a random Dr. Swan dives into the basement like, don't worry, I got this. What happens next? Disaster. Every single time. The poor survivor in the chair is just sitting there, sipping coffee, waiting for the mercenary. And then this random doctor shows up, hands the hunter a free down, and becomes the next person needing rescue. If these people planned real military operations, 80% of missions would fail before takeoff. They'd run out of fuel before they even reach the battlefield. And that, my friends, concludes our little study of the rescuer species. Being a rescuer sucks, but for a reason. So next time you're the one rescuing, don't be too hard on yourself. And next time you see a rescuer mess up, maybe don't flame them too hard either. They're doing their best out there, emotionally, spiritually, and sometimes with 300 milliseconds ping. Anyway, that's all from me. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk disguised as a rant video. Feel free to add your own rescuer horror stories in the comments. I'm pretty sure we all need group therapy at this point. See you next time.